Okay. On time. For budget hour. With me in the studio, we have Mr. Ibrahim Koli from the Ministry of Environment. Welcome to the program, sir, Mr. Koli.
Discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koli. It is indeed a pleasure to have you here. We struggle most times to get the government ministries busy. You people are so busy, and I know that you were so busy last week, of course, and we want to thank all the officials who have come to talk to us about the budget. And we know things are changing, really. Mr. Koli, yes, how has your day been today? And I know you had a very busy week last week. I hope things are a little bit more, you know, how could I say, less busy.
We were busy last week, but now we can say tentatively everything is almost okay now. So
fantastic. So, as I said, you're listening to the 2024 Budget Hour. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor. We are live here on West Coast. So you can watch this back, come back to it and listen to it and actually see what we were discussing. As I said, we are going to be talking about the Ministry of Environment, their expenditure, what the allocation in the 2024 budget has for them. Currently, the approved budget stands at 42 billion for all funds, and GLF accounts for 29.2 billion. All funds, of course, includes loans and grants. So when you do the difference, you will see that about 12.8 billion is expected to be raised from loans and grants. The Ministry of Environment, they usually have a big allocation from donor funding. Excuse me. Excuse me. What I mean by that is the Ministry of Environment, they usually have a huge chunk of donor funding. So this year, the million, perhaps you can clarify. Last year, it was about 1.4 billion. So, of course, I know this translates to about 56% decline, you know, from what you had were allocated last year and what you are allocated this year. You know, but usually all funds estimates are not always received, you know, so that Gambian people understand. These are allocations. They are not necessarily, because when you say budget, people think that, oh, that money is already in the Ministry of Environment's bank account, you know, they are enjoying. So just basically, perhaps that's a place to start. I thought it would be good for us to start with the all funds. So maybe you can give us an idea, how much did the Ministry of Environment actually receive last year for all?
2024.
Yes, sir.
We can tentatively say that we receive almost about 86% of our fund, because if you look at the GLF component of the fund, you have the GLF component, you also have the donor funded component.
Indeed.
Because you know, even donor funded component are all part of government money. So if you look at last year, we were given something like about 58,600,000 to serve the ministry within the ministry and the line departments and the agencies. But first of all, let me just put this into you clearly, yes, that the Ministry of Environment is having about two departments, that is Department of Forestry, Department of Parks and Wildlife, and also an agency, that is a National Environment Agency, which is being subvented by the government of the Gambia.
Yes, sir.
Then under these, even within the ministry, there are projects. These projects, key among them is the large-scale ecosystem-based adaptation project. We also have the Waka project, which was launched this year. We also have the Raika project, that is a Raika project. And then there are other projects also within the POPs project, that is against chemicals and hazardous material. Then also you have the sea and landscape projects within the NEA, that is to serve ecosystem management and so.
Yes.
So these are some of the projects we are having. Okay, if you go to the budget,
yes, sir.
the budget is divided into we have the GLF component.
Yes, sir.
The GLF will support the ministries, the departments,
yes, sir,
and the agencies. This is the GLF. But even that money is also divided into two. You have the recurrent, and then you have the development.
Exactly. Yes,
then you also have the partner support, that is the donor-funded support, which comes from the multilateral institutions that support initiatives towards environmental management, climate change protection, climate change management, or climate inconsequence or causes that cause climate change. So if you look at our budget, our internal budget, that is the GLF, that's the local fund.
yes, sir.
About 158 million was allocated to the ministry, and these have been almost about 86% have been spent.
Okay.
Understand? So
yes,
we also have the projects also. The project also, if you look at the calculation, you will find out that almost 10 million US dollar have been given to our partner institutions. For example, the projects that I was referring to, that is the EBA project, that is the large-scale eco, the RICA, and the UPOP projects. So this amount cumulated to almost about 10 million. So there were some projects that were closed down. For example, the GCCA project was closed. Now we are now more with that. And then there are other projects also that we are winding up also last year. So we could not get as much as we used to get to finance climate change and environmental projects within the ministry.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Very detailed, very detailed. That is the voice of Mr. Ibrahim Colley, who was giving us a very good, overview of the ministry's expenditures. And so we will move into some of the development expenditure. When we say development expenditure, obviously, GLF itself has a recurrent and a development component, but also we want to focus mostly on the donor funding expected to reach the ministry. So from looking at the 2024 budget, we can see that donor funding is estimated to come to approximately 326 million this year. And out of this, 79 million is expected to be raised from the EU. The EU has always been one of Gambia's strongest partners, and they continue to, pledge. Whether we will get those things, we will see. Almost 20.5 million is, I'm sure I've heard you highlight some of these things. Not only is there, one of the biggest from this sector when it comes to donor funding, 220 million is expected to be raised from the Global Environment Facility. Yes, and then $6 million is expected to be raised from UNDP. And in return, within the donor project section, if you go to the budget, in return, the Gambia government is estimated to also plow back 165.9 million on these donor-related projects. But this is where, donor funding is always good to see that partners are coming to support. But oftentimes, maybe that funding may not come. Maybe you can tell us how realistic is it for us to receive all these donor funds this year? Do you think we can receive all these 326? How did we perform last year? Did we receive all last year, sir?
You know, it depends on the implementation of the programs. For example, some programs you may have delays, but that does not mean that they are not. We cannot receive them. We can receive them. That we say was the amount that was supposed to come, and that have come. This was supposed to be spent on, for example, they were constructing. The project was constructing a multi-purpose center. About 8 different multi-purpose centers, whereby women and also youth can use that as a platform to increase their revenue generation, to stop activities that will undermine environmental degradation. The project was also supposed to procure some material for the central processing facility, which was built at Birkama Bar. This is where most of our product, this local product, can be processed into the finest point wherein they can be consumed in the countries. For example, you can be generating tea, you can be processing honey, you can be all those white fruits that we are having. For example, kaba and the others, and even nuts. They can all be processed there and be sent to consumers to the market for consumption.
Wow.
Okay.
Supermarkets even? Can they be sold?
Yeah, they can be sent. So you also have for example, an ecotourism center was developed in Kosema, which need to be, the material needs to be, all the materials, the fittings and infrastructure that needs to be put on. So that requires a lot of money. So most of this money, they will come and they were spent on the right course. For example, if you go to Boostown today, last week or week before, the minister was on tour. And then if you follow the page or the ministry page, you will find out that
a lot of agro businesses
are on. Yes. A lot of enterprises are on. So these monies are here to support enterprises and businesses that will change people. People who are dependent on the forest product into now be using this other product to make a living from their own end.
So did we receive all 100% last year, do you think, or was it more, or did we receive less? Because the last time you told us about 80%, which is something which is relatively reasonable.
It's relatively 86% of them I will receive, because some of these materials have been procured and they are in place currently.
Okay, fantastic, very good.
They are in place.
Very good. That's very reassuring to hear.
Like even the government also, even the GLF that the government also give in terms of development, most of the money have also come because, for example, in the GLF, the Gambia government support regional sub-renewable energy in the OMVG. A lot have been spent on that money. A lot have been spent on so much money. Millions of money have been spent on that to ensure that we get access. We have access to renewable energy and then at energy efficiency. Yes,
that's very, very important because it all ties into the environment. As we reduce our dependency on these fossil fuels, then you will see that and move towards more renewable energy. Then the issue of environment can partly take care of itself. But once we continue to use these heavy fuels and polluting the environment, then we will obviously end up spending even more money to clean the environment.
Absolutely, because the quantity of emission, if it is not reduced, then we have to do a lot of work. And then the Gambia have a commitment to reduce our NDC, our emission target. And these have been stated in our the NDC National Determined Contribution. Even though we knew what we are contributing is very, very, very minute, but we still think that we have a responsibility, of course, to reduce our impact of carbon footprint within the world.
Very
so
good.
The government is working towards that.
Indeed, and I think that will bring us nicely to the next area that we will be talking about.
Okay.
Yes. You are listening to the 2024 Budget Hour. We will try to open up the lines later on so that the callers may have one or two questions on the environment. We are going to focus only on the environment and financing the Ministry of Environment. That's the program. So when you call, please, if you can make your question on that specifically, so that we don't wander into areas where it doesn't, you are listening to the 2024 Budget Hour. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor, live here at West Coast Radio. We're streaming live also on Gainako newspaper YouTube page, so that you can be able to catch this up on demand whenever you feel like you can watch it. So we will move on to the next area, but just before we move on, so many of the people will be listening and saying, these people have highlighted a number of millions there. Huh? So does that mean that, the Ministry of Environment is well financed? They have enough money to deal with all the activities that they need so that they can dispose of?
Yusuf, the environment BS, people can say they are well funded. But if you look at environmental problems, it's too much. It's too much because whatever little thing that you do here, the impact will be felt somewhere. So if you look at the Gambia, we have a lot of environmental issues. For example, the waste is an environmental issue. Waste management is an absolute environmental issue. So you look at people settling on waterways. This is an environmental issue. Understand? We even have a project that is going to look at the Koto stream. That is the Waka project. I did not mention much about it. This is a 45 million project that will look at the 11.2 kilometer of the Koto stream to ensure that there is free flow of water between these two, to ensure there is no flooding that occurs. Some years ago, about 2 years ago, when the flooding occurred, you can look at if somebody do an economic analysis of the damage that was done. That is too much. So an impact of environment cannot. It's not only Gambia. The amount that we have partially cannot even the environment. Even look at the cause of environmental degradation, the bush burning that is doing, the fuel and charcoal generation that is happening within our forests. You look at that. How much are we losing in terms of the quantity of rain depend on our forest cover, and then we are now saying that even the forest cover the forest cover is seriously depleted, and this needs to be replenished back, so that to have a good ecosystem, and also to have rainfall system may also improve. So a lot of things needs to be done, but the money definitely is not as sufficient. But whatever you have, this is development in process. Whatever you have, that's what you use to fund.
Of course.
So if you don't have, you also have to use other initiatives.
Indeed.
So our other initiatives is either government or multilateral agencies that are coming into support in our environmental management process. Yes.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Of course, resources has always been a challenge. You can never get enough resources. That is definitely been the fact. So we will turn our attention to the recurrent budget, and we managed to just pick out some of the biggest from there. So the recurrent budget for 2024 is coming to around $134.7 million is for the Ministry of Environment. By the way, whenever I say something here which looks different from what you have, please don't hesitate. Correct me straight away. I have no problem with that. I've just picked these figures from the finance budget, and I've picked them from the 2024 approved budget as well as from the budget speech.
Okay, 134 million for recurrent. I think that is on the high side because when you do look at it, perhaps they may have taken other projects, overhead allowance or overhead costs. They may have added that. But if you look at the ministry itself, the GLF component, the ministry is only running with 12 million. Some investment, they are not for development. They are, for example, telecommunication, travel, electricity, fuel, maintenance of cars, and all that. These are the recurrent that are spent on daily operation of the ministry. And then if you look at Department of Parks and Wildlife is just under $7 million, and then the Department of Forestry. So by and large, it will not be more than 22 million dollars for us. Okay. For our for
personnel emoluments and salaries.
That is just for the daily operations.
The daily operations.
Operations of the Ministry of Environment with its line departments and 2 line departments. Okay. So the 134 million that they are mentioned, perhaps it could be our projects, I think overhead allowances for our projects that maybe they may be referring to.
Maybe, all right. Because in that area, when I looked at the budget, it's there. It's showing me that strategy, policy policy management.
So that is 12.
That as 82 million.
82 million for strategic policy and
strategic policy and management.
No, we have 12 million for our strategy, policy and management. 12 million. I'm the one who.
So it's also having in here another figure, sound environment management 7.3 million.
Exactly, that is where the forestry department
and then national biodiversity conservation. It's 8.2 million.
National biodiversity management.
And then national environment agency.
These are
36.4.
That is called, that is not
subvention.
That's subvention.
Yes.
That is 36.4. That's where their personal emolument and other things are being factored from.
Indeed.
So, but you look at the Ministry of Environment, the 12 point something million is for our recurrent, and then like it mentioned about the forestry, the parks. Then also maybe we also have development.
Yes.
In that development, this is where last year, this year we spent.
We did development first before we came to recurrent.
Yes.
On the program just now.
Yes.
So that's why. But I am with you. The only thing is, if you go on the 2024 budget, and perhaps this is why it's good to exchange notes. If you go on there and in under the Ministry of Environment for the recurrent section, it lists all these things there. Perhaps it's just a case of the way that it is.
Travel,
exactly.
Telecommunication.
Those are the ones that you are
furnitures and fittings. Training, stationaries, conferences, and so forth. These are what is called recurrent.
Yes.
That's our recurrent.
That's what you are. We will try to move ahead to the next topic. As we said, this program is supported by Gambia Participates through the U.S. Embassy. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor, commonly known as FlexDown. And with me in the studio, that was the voice of Mr. Ibrahim Koli from the Ministry of Environment. We are talking about the allocations to the Ministry of Environment in the 2024 budget. How much money have they been allocated? How has this money been allocated? What's going to development? We just talked about some recurrent, and you heard the back and forth there. We were trying to get what I have and what I see in the 2024 budget, and also what Mr. Koli can verify. So we're glad to have him here. He can do the verification because most of these things are coming from his ministry, and this is his mandate. This is his area. He's the one who runs this. So we will move now from the big, looking at all the numbers to try to go down into some areas. In this is coming from the 2024 budget speech, carbon financing and green financing. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, in its 2024 budget speech, spoke about this, how it holds, and I quote, considerable potential in supporting resource mobilization efforts in the country. Carbon financing and green financing These mechanisms encompass instruments like carbon pricing, green bonds, and green investment funds, which can create new revenue streams. For instance, projects focused on carbon efficiency improvements and afforestation can generate carbon credits traded in international markets, thus bolstering revenue while addressing developmental challenges. This approach not only mitigates environmental issues, but also aligns with global sustainability goals. Carbon financing, carbon trading. Most Gambians, they don't even know what these things mean. Are they the same thing? What is this thing, carbon financing and carbon trading, sir? What does it mean? And then how can we as a country benefit from it, sir? Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. These are terms that are used in climate change. The two terms are different. Okay. When you say carbon trading, like they have mentioned, yes, sir. This is normally companies or parties or individuals who are doing emission, but they are being given a quota. For example, the quota could be, for example, if I give you 10, but you are now emitting more than 10, 12 or 13. Now you will be charged for that remaining that you were emitting, but you do not, you were given a quota. The quota was, for example, because like you say, it's a new terminology. Yes. Many people may not understand.
Of course.
But now, if a company in the Gambia or company anywhere in the world is emitting more than what was given to him, so now you can look at other individuals, either individuals or organizations, either government or what, to be doing what is called carbon trading. That is, they can be planting trees, they can be doing renewable energy, afforestation programs. That is called one, planting, afforestation program. Yes. Then because you are not emitting anything, now this individual who is emitting will now buy from you. That money now, because you are doing an effort to protect or to do a reforestation program, you will now pay a certain amount of money, because somebody somewhere is now selling your, because you are now doing a lot of emission you are now doing a lot of emission reduction, because your planting of those trees will be reducing the amount of emission that is going into the atmosphere. Somebody also who have so many solar power plants, instead of having fossil fuel or nuclear fuel or coal, you are now using a mitigation action. That is that you are using solar, not even solar, partly it's also install the thing. You are now what is doing called, you are now stopping that mitigation to happen. So you can now, people can now sell, you can now be doing this trading between you and a company that is emitting more than what was given to him.
Is it really working has it begun working? Are any countries actually benefiting? Can we benefit from this?
People are benefiting. Countries are benefiting. Even here, it takes a longer period. Okay. It is not like you enter into it this year. For example, if you look at our mangrove area, so a day will come, maybe we'll have an expert who will monitor and then look at how much is being sink. How much carbon are our mangoes sinking? How much carbon, if we having solar power plant, how much are we not emitting? For example, if we also have hydro. Yes. So these are some of the things. So companies. So but the financing is different from carbon. These are another form of trading. But this is but financing is done by climate financing or green bond. These are done by multilateral agencies. Okay. Understand that is, for example, you have the GEF, you have the GCF, that is the Green Climate Fund. You have the Climate Investment Fund. Okay. You also have Global Environment Facilities and others. Okay. Perhaps this was born out of the Cancun climate change, when some big boys, for example, the United States of America, the France, the Germans, and others, pledged, and Japan pledged to put some money into financing some of our mitigation, adaptation, and resilient building fund. That is where you have funds or climate change financing. Yes. So, but you have different bonds, then you can have green bonds. You also have concessionary loans. These are all areas where you can concessionary loans. I think you understand that one with a minimal minimal heads return on
like
head
1%.
Yeah, like 1%.
Like that.
So these are some of the forms that are the funding that they are referring to. Yes.
Thank you so much. I have get a little bit more. These are all very technical terms, so
Yeah.
I'm sure I am not a climate change financier or whatever. So perhaps that's why. But I think I have deepened my understanding a little bit.
For the trade,
Yes.
you can do it either forestry, and then you can do it even on our mangrove. Currently, there are people who have interest, who have shown interest in this area, and they are coming. But as at now, we are also trying to develop a framework whereby any individual that came or any company that came must pass through that framework, a national framework. We are developing that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for
this can benefit. It will halt environmental degradation, and then it will also you have to improve on the income of the government and the people that are the beneficiaries, or the people who host the project within their environment. They can all get benefit from this carbon trading.
Indeed, and I hope that Gambia can get millions from this, either in kind or money.
Yes,
hopefully this is where I want to see we are going. Flood and coastal risk management. It's also something that the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs mentioned in his budget speech when it comes to the section for environment. And this is what the minister had said. He noted that the ministry in here, of course, is talking about the Ministry of Environment.
Yes.
Successfully also launched the West Africa Coastal Area Resilient Investment Program, WACA, which you talk about, at a cost of $46 million in May 2023, that's last year. This project is designed to improve flood and coastal risk management in selected risk-prone areas in the greater Banjul area. In addition, the National Environment Agency recently established a geographical information remote sensing technologies across all sectors of the government. So does this mean that our flood warning systems are all set for this rainy season coming? We are fine now.
Yes, we are trying to improve. First, like I did mention about WACA, that 11.2 kilometer from Kotu stream. That is to ensure that there is a free flow of water. In fact, before the short-term engagement that they will do this year is to clean this year to ensure that there is going to be a proper plan that will be almost, let me say, if I say everlasting, I may be wrong, but that will be long-lasting.
Long-term, definitely.
Long-lasting project that will see that the stream is properly managed to ensure that there is a free flow of water, to ensure that even people moving from one bank to the other is all been easily been taken care of. Because if you look at during the rainy season, some areas people use these small canoes or barras. I don't know how you are.
I know what you mean.
A thing of past once the project start. For this year, they will be making studies, but they will also ensure that all the blockage, the siltation that have happened in the canal will all be removed, and then there will be studies to know the height, the level of water, and the volume of water that normally pass in that area. That will be done. So that will be all towards the cost will be maintained. So regarding the GIS system, that is the information management system, this is in line with our responsibility to ensure that our environment, whatever is happening, be it weather, be it rain, be it what, all the information should be passed to the public to make a better plan about what will happen. because if you do not know, the information about heavy downpour, of what will happen, winds and so forth, you will not be able to plan for the future. So this is why we are trying to provide information about even daily weathers, the daily weather information, rainfall and so forth. So the GIS mapping will be able to know which areas are prone to flooding, which areas are being affected. For example, if there is a particular forest that has been degraded or so, the simplest way to know is GIS mapping. You will be able to know using your GIS mapping with Google Earth or what, you'll be able to know exactly what is happening in some areas. So that is the purpose of the GIS unit.
Very important, yes. Very important. They will be thinking, will this also be used to benefit them? Because flooding, you know, farmers, I think you might have touched it, but farmers are very interested to know if you can tell us whether the water will be washing our crops away, or, you know, with regards to farming. Will it help them? And does this mean that, you know, there are mitigative measures? So just beside that, are they having also mitigating measures to mitigate the impact of floods in
yes.
Gambia?
Yes.
So there are two questions almost which I asked.
Yes. First, the farmers, you know, yes, the Department of Water Resources almost every year produce what is called the JAS, the JAS report that will tell you the rainfall pattern in our country. Yes. Understand, from June to August or September. So this report will tell you how rainfall, the prediction of the rainfall. It may not be perfectly correct, but they get it. It's very, very sometimes 90 and 95% accuracy is there. So this will tell you a particular farmer when to plant and when not to plant. What is the, for example, you may see early rain, and this water resources may advise that this is not rain that can sustain crop production. So these informations are used for those type of things, like the early warning. Like you also mentioned about them, we also have another project that will look at the Rika project. The Rika project, for example, when there is drought and so forth, crop failures and so forth, the Rika project will provide what is called crop insurance or farming insurance to some of these farmers, but it doesn't cover the entire country. It will only cover URR and CRR, and I think perhaps maybe LRR. But this is only in the farming community areas whereby rainfall pattern can affect their the productivity of their crop, so they can be compensated for the losses that they have gained through the farming season. So these are some of the work that
I hope that they are doing. This is very good work, definitely. But I hope they are also trying to make it. You know, these farmers, they are not like you and me. You and I, we read the budget, we read documents, you know, reports. You know, that's how we can come on the radio to talk about. But some of these people, they need somebody to bring this to, not even bring it as audio or even video, but in also local languages. Are they having, is that happening?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's you or because of, I know this is a very cross-cutting. When we talk about farmers, you know, you have agriculture over there. And like you said, fisheries and water resources. So I don't want to place this on just you.
That they are providing weather information, even in local language. They are providing it in the rural areas. They are providing around, and then that is happening. Information about weather, information about rainfall pattern. This information, early warning. There is a project that is also doing it called early warning in the country. So they are providing that. Even the Rika project that I do mention. Almost 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, they have just from training some farmers in the rural areas, rural area of the country, about the projects, about what the project aims to do. So most of these farmers are well aware of that. And this information normally pass to them in the local language, so they are aware.
Very good.
Majority of them who are with like this thing are all aware. Either community sensitization also is being taken place using community radios, community radios in the LRR, community radios in the CRR, community radios in the URR, and they are also using some organizations, CBO organizations that are within this environment. They are using them to disseminate some of this information to the local population.
Very good. They sure do need that because there's a lot of good work that is being done, but whether it is trickling down. We are listening to the 2024 Budget Hour, a program supported by Gambia Participates through the U.S. Embassy Banjul. Down. And with me in the studio today, Mr. Ibrahim Koli from the Ministry of Environment. He's talking to us about his ministry and the budget allocations in the 2024 budget. We're also talking about the budget speech. You can dial 57877 for the last 10-15 minutes, where we will take your questions. We still have some more to go, but we wanted to open up the lines just in case anybody has any questions. This is your chance to direct a question on environment financing on the 2024 budget. Any questions you want to know? Now is your time and now is your chance to get that answer. Please, let's stay on track, let's stay on point and not wander into other areas that are not covered on the program. The Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, he also talked about more work from the ministry in the areas of expansion of 3 protected areas. And this is what he said. The Ministry of Environment has also engaged in the expansion of 3 protected areas of 24,000 hectares. This brings the total area under protected area coverage to 92,549 hectares, representing 9.2% of the national land mass. The designation of the first man and biosphere reserve in the Gambia is in progress, awaiting approval by UNETED for implementation in 2024. On the restoration of mangroves ecosystems, the ministry has planted 4,000 hectares of mangrove ecosystem to support the improvement of the marine ecosystem, which could be used for carbon trading in the near future. That's a lot of work. Perhaps we might be able to add to it. What do you think we must take away from that? Some people may not even understand what the minister is saying.
Yes, like we have mentioned them.
Some of them.
Some of them here, like the Jokadu National Park, that is referring to the Man and Biospheres National Park. There is expansion, a large number of, when you say man and biosphere, this area, farming can be done, but a lot of protection of the area also should also be done to ensure that the bush or the environment is not born. So if you know that part of the country, that is the Nyomi towards Jokadu, there is a large area of area. People can be within the parks, but there will be no farming also can be done. People can get their livelihood, but they should also ensure that the environment is properly managed to ensure that it serves our ecosystem needs. Then also we have the Ken West National Park. There was an expansion that was done in that area also.
When you say expansion, does that mean that they go in and start doing planting to expand, or they just come in?
Mutual consent. The community there will also be informed and they will sign an agreement, and the community itself will also like that. Let us keep this area to ensure that we preserve it. We can do planting there. They will be doing planting there to ensure that there is no fire. There can be tree growing and tree management within the area. So this is what is called expansion. So, but it's not done in isolation. It's done in consultation with the people of the environment. Understand? So you also have all the community conserved areas. This is also common, a large area of places like in Combo here, there is this Gunjur area which have a community conserved area, and CRR also there is a community conserved area where the community said they want to protect certain area of their land to ensure that it became now a forest or a park to serve ecosystem. Okay, that may also include even deep sea marine area where they are doing also that large scale ecosystem. No, the sea and landscape project is wanted to do a deep sea marine protected area to ensure that the marine area that part of the sea is being used as a protected area for species, marine species, and so forth. So about the 4,000 you mentioned, this is what I was mentioning, that this is what is called carbon trading or carbon offsetting, some carbon emission trading. So by planting that number of hectares of that, now any company in anywhere of this, our company is offsetting. We are giving 10 gigagram. That's what we are offsetting now. But we went back beyond. We are now doing 15. So we want to see whether your data we can use that your this planting that you are doing, because it's doing what is called carbon sequestration. So now we can use this the one that you are sequestering to buy from you people. That 5% that we are emitting, we will now use, because since you people are doing what is called mangrove restoration, but it's all geared towards carbon trading. So you can trade with that individual, and that's where the government can get some resources from.
Very important, and I'm even seeing more and more how this is linking with that carbon financing, carbon trading in the earlier part of this program.
Early part of the program.
Thank you so much.
This is how they do it.
Yes, I really appreciate that, Mr. Ibrahim Colley. That is the voice of Mr. Ibrahim Colley. You are listening to the 2024 Budget Hour, where this is the last program, and you could be our last caller. Make sure that you call. You know, when you talk budget and financing, people sometimes, 504-7877. 504-7877. You can send a text if you don't want to call, because I know some women may say, they don't want their voice on the radio. We will ask your question. So we don't have much left to go. We've got just about, less than 5 minutes to go. So we will definitely also talk about the last point, one of the last points which we have here is also from the budget speech. The Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, he said this about forest management also. In a bid, I quote, "In a bid to improve forest cover in the Gambia, the ministry granted technical support to 620 communities to undergo comprehensive preliminary community forest management. This exercise has increased the total forest cover under the community forest schemes to 45,237 hectares nationwide. The department also distributed 250,000 polypots and seeds of assorted indigenous trees species to all the central nurseries nationwide for seedling propagation, totaling 468,617 tree species of Gimelina, Jumanila, and mangrove across the country. So, there's a lot of work there. Do you have an idea how much this project is going to cost? What is the project timeline?
Yeah, this is an ongoing project like CF, that is community forest. Community forest, like I said here, for example, I am from North Bank. It can be 30 hectares, it can be 40 hectares, it can be even be 100, 200 hectares, understand? But it may not be only be our village. It may be 2 or 3 villages or so who will come together and say, look, we are losing our forest cover. Our here used to be dense and thick, but now no more anymore. Now, can we make it as a forest, community forest? When we make it as a community forest, we can all benefit from it by judicious utilization of resources within these community forests. These community forests are being managed by the community in line with the Forest Act of this country. Understand? So what normally happened, like they said, about 600 something, the minister said about the will be transfer.
Yes.
So we know that the government do not have all the resources to manage all these forests. So, but what is this is another sort of management regime that we have come up with, the Ministry of Environment through Department of Parks, Forestry have come up with to ensure that we manage these forest resources in line with the Forest Act and also with the communities that are benefiting from this area. For example, if you go to Nyomi Bakindiki, it is in this type of management regime that they can be paying even this thing. How do you call lempo in English? Is called tax.
Yes,
the compound tax of the country.
Yes,
so if they also want to do mosque reconstruction or any communal activity, they can be reduced. They can be using resources from the community. From also even be selling these kabas, these ditas and others forest resources to communities, and they get resources out of it instead of being leaving it to people who are not community members of that community to come and harvest those resources. So you jointly manage these forest resources between the forestry and parks, but there is a certain part of amount of money that will also have to be paid to the forestry department, that is to the government, as part of their contribution to the management of the forest park. It's called community forest park, and then we are now, the department is now encouraging that, because we know we cannot be everywhere, but the community will be there. So whatever is happening in the parks, wherever the forestry rangers or workers are absent, the community will act as guardians of those. This is why you have,
because they are staying there,
site management committees. For each of these, well, they are now improving. Some of them are even doing honey production, because we are.
Yes, I've seen it, especially the one in Brikama. There's one not too far within Brikama.
Yeah. So some of them community projects are supported them with beehives and so forth. They are doing honey production within the
soap, making soap
and so forth.
Honey, all kind of.
So these are some of the ideas that we are having. Instead of people harvesting the wood, they can now take the NTA, and that the non-timber forest product can be harvested from the forest while leaving the forest intact. That is the fruits, the nuts, the honeys, and so forth. And then some of them are even coming up with ecotourisms within the parks. Building, like if you go to Tumane Tenda, they have an eco park. It's a community forest. But they have an eco camp there. People can go there and have leisures there within the
That's very interesting. We are running out of time, but just a quick one. I know that there was a big issue with regards to gazetting or de-gazetting of some parks, and I think of late they have actually gazetted some, or because Bijilo Park was one of them.
It's gazetted.
It's gazetted.
It's gazetted.
Perfect. And I know that one, there was a big issue with the U.S. Embassy taking it up, and that one is no longer.
You know, when the place is gazetted.
Yes. Gazetted. Yes.
And in that de-gazetted also have to go through a process. Gazetting goes through a process.
Yes.
De-gazetting also goes through a process. So if any place is not de-gazetted and then you go and do any other thing that you are doing that to your own.
So there were no 5 parks that were de-gazetted or something of that sort. Recent.
De-gazetting of parks.
Yes.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge, fine.
Because I know even the Manduar case that was on,
yes,
it is not de-gazetted.
Okay.
Because if that one where the community make an intervention, youth and so forth, that problem, that squabble there, that plot of land was a community, was gazetted. There was no de-gazetting done. So
but people themselves were the ones encouraging
into that. And then if you are encouraging into those lands, you are doing it at your own detriment. Because any time the government can come and bulldoze everything, because the place have to be de-gazetted for a use. You need to change the land use. But the land use have not been changed. And this thing went through a system, a procedure. It went up to the judiciary system, the court and so forth. They look at everything. So now, if you wanted to use that, the same thing have to, and then the minister have to sign. Indeed. So if the minister did not sign at the time, how can
Ibrahim Koli, your last words? We have exhausted our time. Thank you so much. We really appreciate
Thank
you
you,
coming.
thank you.
So your last words.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. I appreciate coming into your program, and I think this is necessary for people to know what the government is doing and it's called money, and then whatever information or whatever thing they need from us, we should come up for to explain it to the general public to understand and know it, not to sit on information. We thank you very much on behalf of my principals who have authorized that I should be part of this program. I thank them very much for the confidence they have on me to come to this project. And then we will also thank you people, Gambia participator, for ensuring that the citizens knows what their institutions, whether Ministry of Environment or any other ministry, is doing to ensure that the country move forward. Because the money that we talk about is the taxpayers' money, and then we need to disclose it to them how we utilize it, how they are being funded. So we thank you very much for enlightening the general public to know what each one of our ministries. Today I'm talking in general and that about what we are doing as a ministry. We thank you very much that most of the listeners, whether they're watching live or it is going to be on YouTube, will be able to understand definitely what we are offering in the country. We thank you.
Thank you so much. And obviously, without you coming here, there would be no program. Without you accepting to come, we would not have. In making sure that we have, this is the last program for the 2024 budget hour you were just listening to. It was supported by the Gambia Participates and the US Embassy. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor, and bye for now. Hopefully, we will be coming back sometime soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.